How does that feel when it rains? How does that feel when the weather is not at its best? So ideally sunny, bright, blue skies, and the whole nine. Obviously, everyone experiences a different feeling when there are changes in weather patterns, right? So, for example, if it rains, it can be assumed that some people would be sad due to perhaps cancellation of plans, due to having to make changes in how they were wanting to tackle the day. But because of the rain, because of this change in the weather, it's not ideal outside. So it can be assumed that some people would be maybe saddened by that. For others, there are clear, sometimes even physiological changes that they experience when the weather is a certain way. So let's say it's not sunny with blue skies. Some people experience actual changes in their bodies as a result. So for some reason, their body responds to the weather patterns. And there are, to some degree, medical data and at least reflections to explain this phenomenon. But even if it's not at the level of, at a medical level, we all, or at least most of us, experience some type of change in perhaps our mood when it's not sunny outside. Because chemically speaking, the sun, as we know, yeah, the sun does provide certain nutrients, does have a physiological, biological, biochemical effect on our bodies when the sun comes into contact with the human being and the human skin. So there are actual physical effects of the presence of the sun, but also making contact with the sun in some form or fashion. So that's something to note. But in addition to that, just seeing the sun outside, just seeing the greenery, okay, the trees and the grass and sunlight, and things like that, it does uplift the mood. It does give a more positive outlook on the day per se, or on oneself, okay, as opposed to when it's dark and gloomy and gray and rain is falling from the sky, or maybe snow is falling from the sky, but you can see that the sky is darker, and there's a darker energy, okay, in the atmosphere. That has an effect also on mood, and it's usually not a positive effect, okay, because we know all too well darkness is not something that's usually seen or portrayed or received in a positive light by the human psyche, right? So that's the norm, let's say the average. But on the flip side, there are people sometimes when you're past that, when you're of a certain level of let's say age or maybe maturity, or you have a certain level of education, understanding about biology and nature and physiology and all of that, you come to a place where you can even begin to appreciate the rain. So let's flip it for a second. So when it rains, as opposed to seeing it as plans being canceled, you can see it as perhaps a day to slow down, as opposed to a day to run out and do more and be more and pursue more things. You can see it as a day to slow down and take it easy and start over and stay inside and refresh and regroup and all of that. Yeah? So that's one perspective. Another perspective is a day to become more quiet, more internal, not going out and be out there and socializing with the world when it gives you a chance, rain, let's say, and may give you a chance to slow your pace and gather your thoughts and turn within and reflect, okay? Instead of taking on new stimuli by getting out into the world and socializing and connecting and reconnecting and all of that, it's giving you a chance to put a break on all of those stimuli coming in to the brain, to the human body, to your mind, to your psyche, and to your heart, even some emotional connections that perhaps that day gives you a chance to pause because it's raining. Okay, so as opposed to having, let's say, rain, let's say it's sunny 4 days out of the week, that fifth day out of the work week, that fifth day might be a rainy day, and instead of going out and taking on new stimuli, you might pause and not do that. So that's one less day where you have to be stimulated and collecting information and bombarding the brain even more. So that's one aspect. The other aspect that you can consider is that rain precedes, right, sunshine, or after the rain comes the sunshine. So rain, it's almost, it can even serve, when you really do start doing some internal work, it can even serve as a reminder of what it is that you have, okay? It makes you, when it's dark and gloomy and gross and wet and all of that, for a second it gives you pause, or it might make you sad, or it might make you cancel plans and all of that, but at the same time, when you go deeper, it makes you realize that, you know what, it might rain today, but tomorrow the sun will shine again. And that anticipation, that pause, that reflection makes you appreciate the next day or the next 2 days. Whenever the sun comes back out, it makes you appreciate that there is a sun, that there is light after darkness, that there is hope, that there is more opportunity to get out there and make connections, that it doesn't just stop with the rain. So that appreciation, it cultivates a certain level of perhaps gratitude inside of you that would not be possible. You would not be able to appreciate sunshine and light and the opportunities that it gives in terms of connections and being out there, doing your activities and going about your business. You would not be able to appreciate the opportunities that it affords you if it wasn't for the rainy days. Right? So that's how you can think about it. And in many ways, if you can even take that a step further and realize that you can apply the laws of nature to your own life whenever you face a dark moment in dark times, that nature, you can use nature to remind you that, you know what, it is dark today. After the rain, the sunshine always returns. That's something